This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
Welcome to the Supreme Resort Land v. World, a podcast about Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and which is the Supreme Resort. Each episode we will discuss and explore each resort ride by ride.
Rides have lines.
There are lines, yeah. Rides have lines. Land by land, park by park, announcement by announcement to determine which is better. That's right, folks. We want to think about the things that aren't a thing yet. I'm your host, Jimmy, and thank you for joining me on this quest. Just reading the teleprompter, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this quest to help the greater good of humanity answer this long, elusive question, which is better, Disneyland or Walt Disney World? I am Eric, as the teleprompter doesn't say. Jimmy, are you Jimmy?
I am. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Eric. Go F yourself, San Diego.
Wow. Dan, what do you think about San Diego?
I think it's a remarkably rich tapestry of so many different neighborhoods that are in no way segregated because they exist.
Here, here.
The end.
Fantastic.
Mine was a little bit of a nod to Ron Burgundy.
Oh, yeah. The teleprompter.
Nice.
Teleprompter thing.
And then I went and made it political.
Dan was just delivering the truth.
Yeah. Well, no,
Hashtag the truth.
Because diversity equals a bunch of separate neighborhoods.
That's true. They are diverse by nature.
Hold on.
There are dogs.
Nope, diverse dogs.
I might need to go check the door. This keeps happening. Sorry.
Show's over.
Away. Hi, Eric.
Hey, Jimmy.
Welcome
What's
to the
going
show.
on?
Hey.
Did you go to D23?
Do I want to?
Did you?
I did not go to D23, although I didn't watch it. But I watched the next day, and I was very excited about all the many things to see and will see in years to come. And I'm excited to talk about it.
Oh.
And get you guys, as we have not spoken about D23 in general, our opinions on who does what's what and what's where. Now Dennis back, so you can continue.
Nice. Have either of you ever considered going to D23?
Yes.
I plan on doing D23 sometime like when I'm older, sort of like a lot of older white ladies do. And I'm just really hoping to see any hint of anything spicy in the result. That's a joke about 23andMe, a thing that old white ladies do to find out whether or not they can make racist jokes.
How much American?
Come on, just give me a touch of something.
See, well, a part of
exactly.
Are you American? Here's your percent.
Yeah,
Eric, your show, buddy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. No, I don't want to go to D23 ever. Thanks for not elaborating on that, either of you.
You know what? I did not. I've considered it. I wanted to go this year. You know, I'd go to a lot of trade shows, and what never occurred to me until this very year, is that D23 is a trade show.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
I go to so many for decades. I've gone to trade shows, and you know, I'm in an industry, and I walk around that industry. It's like, yeah, there's some stuff. You know, there's things.
There you go. Does the education industry have an event like D23?
They must.
I'm sure they do. And I look forward to a time in my life when I can get paid to go to them and also not go to them.
But here's the latest book.
And I'm sure they have them in the pharmaceutical industry and all that stuff, Eric. But it's like, you have your interest, right? Like my interest in this particular industry I'm in is very narrow. And I could walk around this trade show and like, oh, hey, look, this is a new way to slaughter pigs. Hooray. Like, I just don't really care, So what occurred to me this time is like, this is an entire trade show dedicated to a thing I'm really passionate about. Why don't I go to this thing?
Jimmy, of course, works in the sadism industry.
I thought that was
not in the pig slaughtering industry. That's just adjacent.
That's right. I'm sorry. Was there confusion? Anyway, but yeah, just like a whole trade show dedicated to things that I love and I'm passionate about. Why wouldn't I go?
Like pig slaughtering.
Well, again. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a more elaborated version of your question, Eric. Yes, I have considered, and I probably will at some point in my life go to D23.
Okay. I think I have a strong aversion to trade shows, mainly because I'm about to say possibly the most white thing that a person can say. My parents used to own an interior decorating store.
They used to own a khaki store? Okay.
An interior decorating store in which they sold frames and wallpaper and paint. There we go. And as such, I would, as a child, get dragged to so many trade shows. And I hate them.
See, I thought you were going to say the whitest thing anyone's ever said. There's too much seasoning in that potato salad.
too soon. Like, Jimmy, I am going to push back against your anti-white racism.
I don't know. What is the whitest thing someone could say?
That their parents owned a frame shop.
That's fair. That's it. Khaki store also works.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you both for weighing in on this very important topic. Let's stay on this very important topic.
Potato salad or pig slaughter?
Mayonnaise versus Miracle Whip.
Mayonnaise all the way.
I think you're right, Dan. I've been making a homemade Caesar salad dressing for weeks.
Where's my wind sound?
I've been making homemade Caesar salad, really good. But instead of like doing oil and eggs and stuff, just mayonnaise, right? And it's been phenomenal. Chef's kiss, sky anus.
Nice.
This last batch I made, I didn't have mayonnaise. I had Miracle Whip. And so I used Miracle Whip instead of mayonnaise for the Caesar dressing, and it was awful.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you grind the anchovies yourself?
I use an anchovy paste.
Okay.
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
Pre-ground.
Fresh minced garlic. It's all very good. A little bit of spice in there. It's good. Anyway, don't use Miracle Whip for your Caesar dressing. The end.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye.
Hey, we covered D23, didn't we?
All right. So we're going to do D23. And because I'm sick of doing D23 shows, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have us do D23 Coast versus Coast, which is a thing that we do around here on the Supreme Resort, Land v World. And we're gonna take that on in this way that we do things. And
so what you're saying is we're going to address D23 in the announcements like everyone.
Yeah.
But at the end of this, we're going to decide who won D23, Disneyland or Disney World.
Exactly. This is not what most shows have done. Most shows have been like, "Ooh, what's going to happen?
Right.
Where are they going to dig the hole for this Coco attraction?"
I'll show you where.
We're going to do that too, by the way. But still, at the end, we're going to decide who's better.
At the end, which one is better? And because there is an element of risk involved with all of this, how much are we going to lose to gain these amazing things? There will be negative points associated with this episode.
So I think what we're all saying here is that we are not simply doing the easy thing that everyone else is doing. This is a unique take and a unique.
That's right.
Yes, we are working. We're working both both parts of our asses.
Nice.
Nobody
the
works
whole
as hard.
ass.
No,
That's right.
And just tell your friends, wow, I can't believe
it's not half-ass. Now available in stores.
I will absolutely subscribe to this show. If Dan says something about Disneyland that I like, Dan, what sound will I hear?
You will hear that sound that I am making with my mouth while speaking right now.
Those ventriloquist classes are really paying
They
off.
really are.
What was that sound you made? That was impressive.
It was.
Do it again, Dan.
Okay, hold on.
Start talking.
Oh, I can only do it while I talk. I'm sorry. You see? It's that sound right there that I just made. It's the Mark Twain whistle, which is, a little...
A thing that'll continue. Okay.
Yes, it's not going anywhere.
Right. How about
Because it can't.
a sound? How about a sound that would express my displeasure with your statements?
Okay, hold on. Let me start speaking so I can make that sound as well. And there you go. I just made the sound.
Wow, that was remarkably similar to the sound that you would hear on the rocket rods.
That's true.
Well done.
Thank you.
Jimmy is not quite so talented as Dan.
I haven't taken those classes yet.
Yeah.
Dan did give me a gift certificate, but I haven't used it.
All right. So Jimmy, purse your lips and make your first sound.
Have you tried Staples?
Wow, good job.
That's if you don't like it?
Sure. Yeah, that's if I don't like it. And if I do like the things that you're saying.
I love that idea.
The old Steven Tyler standby.
Yeah, and Have You Tried Staples is from Scrooged.
That's right.
Where
Correct.
he is trying to get antlers to stick on mice.
That's right.
Correct.
He's cutting corners.
Yeah, being careless with the brand, so some might say.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting take. Let's get there. Where do we want to start? Who wants to kick us off? Disneyland is older than Disney World.
1955 by Michael Eisner himself.
Thank you, Michael. Wait, is Michael here?
Hello?
He sure is.
He is.
Oh,
Thank
hey.
you.
His
Mike.
boy's here in spirit. I don't know. Eric, how do you want to start?
There are fewer announcements in Disneyland this year, so I wouldn't mind starting out with Walt Disney World.
Let me start with Disney World. Okay, I was going to start with
So I want to start. First of all, we need a Breck Eisner hello for the files. Second,
hello.
I'd like to start. I'm going to kind of start in reverse order, if that makes sense. Like what I think is the biggest, most exciting, all the way down.
Can we start with the thing that is the same between the two, which is the
Millennium Falcon?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. All right, go for it.
So here's my copy from the old Disney. A new story featuring Mando and his youngling is coming to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run on both Hollywood Studios and Disneyland Resort, with some help from Epic's Unreal Engine.
Mm-hmm.
This new mission will kickstart once The Mandalorian and Grogu hits theaters in 2026. I'm excited about this.
It's going to be a new same thing that you do every
So
time.
much speculation time, which is a lot of that. I think they're not going to get... reskinning Hondo is the best, most exciting thing they can do. Therefore, Hondo will still be in the show. I think
because it would be okay. Got it.
Okay.
So they'll probably keep Hondo. It's Hondo Anaka. It's his station. They'd have to re-record all of the audio and the cue. They'd have. It's just nothing's changing.
Yeah.
We don't have to. we still have to get coaxium. But Grogu's going to be on the coaxium box.
I just had a moment where I imagined Werner Herzog as an animatronic for Hondo, and it was wonderful.
You must collect more coaxium.
So I don't know what I think the story will probably tie into the movie that's coming out. I still think it's going to have to be some kind of adventure that you have to go retrieve or do whatever. It's still a game, right? But I don't think the queue is going to change. I think somehow they're going to shoehorn Millennium Falcon in because you have to.
I was just thinking that, like, the Millennium Falcon isn't in that thing that we know
Yeah.
of. I guess
Falcon,
maybe they're going to shove it in the movie somehow.
Probably. I mean, it's so iconic you kind of almost have to, but so Millennium Falcon still exists, right? At this point in the timeline, this is before Rey discovers it on Jakku, right? So whoever owns it, Encore Plot owns it at this point, maybe.
Oh gosh!
No,
so yeah, it's when somebody has stolen it, and
no, they already have it because this place is set in the like 18 hours between the first movie and the second movie. So they already did they steal it? This is a terrible idea.
That's a good point.
Well, here's the other point as part of this.
Oh, nobody has.
Are we breaking the timeline? Are we taking Galaxy's Edge and are we making it a completely different? Are we just making it Star Wars land?
That's interesting.
I think. Okay, I have a couple thoughts on that, and it's going to sound snarky, but I think you'll also both understand where I'm going with this. I think that that makes a lot of sense to do, and they should do it, but they can't and they won't, because while they would do it in California, they wouldn't do it in Florida.
That's right.
They've already started in California with having Mando and Grogu there. Like I've met, like that was a big highlight, meeting Mando and Grogu.
The advantage they have to these two characters is Mando doesn't age because he has a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
And Grogu doesn't age because he's 50 and is still a baby. So even if he's 70, he's still just, a baby or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the timeline doesn't matter when it comes to these characters. So as far as this ride goes, like what is the ride going to be? I think they're going to redo the ride. You're still going to fly out of Galaxy's Edge. You're still going to fly out of Batuu and back. I assume Chewie's still going to be there. What they should do is replace Hondo with Mando. And he and Grogu are there as animatronics telling you what to do, what they need you to do. Get rid of Hondo altogether. Here's what we need you to do. You need to go retrieve this thing.
What will Jim Cummings do without his residuals?
Or replace Hondo with the Nick Nolte character. Or hell, Nick Nolte himself.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
The trouble that Disney has tying something like this into a film property is that film won't have been successful yet. So it has to kind of be specific to these characters that are already popular without tying in the actual movie, because we don't know if it's going to be good or not.
But we like the show. We like
exactly.
Baby Yoda.
Well, we
like Grogu and Mando.
We liked some seasons of it.
Yeah, well, best season of Mandalorian was Boba Fett.
Yeah.
The Book of Boba Fett.
I wonder if we're veering into, and I've speculated this before, but I wonder if this is actually the beginning of another dark age for Disney, where they get too hubristic, and you know how sometimes they how they have that history of being like, hey, you know what else is cool? This thing and this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, and you're just like, not anymore. Sorry.
I'm going to disagree with you, because I feel like we're almost heading toward a Marvel-ish Phase 3 Infinity War Endgame.
Maybe.
Like, we're getting to the point where everybody's like, I really liked all the Star Wars stuff. Oh, wow, there's a movie? Great.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
At least I'd like that to be the thing.
I would too. I'm always aware that, there's always another, just like the Sith, there's always another Paul Pressler waiting behind the scenes,
Oh,
perhaps.
Good reference.
Which, if it's all the same to you, Eric, let's move on, unless we have anything specific about this that nobody cares about.
No, I think everybody wins on this one. It's new content in a ride that promised content, kind of like
Star Tours.
Star Tours like totally pays off. Like Star Tours keeps adding in content. I was thinking Midway Mania or Toy Story Mania, where they've done it once, where they added new stuff. So
the thing that I keep thinking about is that this ride initially was going to be like an open format where you can just kind of explore, and they give you like loose challenges along the way, and that sounded fun. And I feel like we're not going to get that. Can I introduce another element to this, which is if they get it, how do they get it right in your view, and how do they get it wrong in your view, based on like their tendencies?
Oh, you mean outside of the Star Wars thing, like in general,
across the board with all these topics?
Across the board, if we can, if there's time. Yeah. Because I think with this one, I would love for this to be, no matter what they do with the actual ride itself, I would love for this to be the moment where they just say, F it to the timeline, this is just Star Wars land. How they get this wrong is it's just Star Tours Part 2, and the Millennium Falcon aspect of it is basically just ignored. You just happen to be in this vehicle.
Yeah, I think I already said my version of that, which is they get it wrong by keeping Hondo, keeping everything exactly the way it is, and just adding elements of Mando, and they shoehorn. They get it right by reskinning Hondo to Mando with Grogu, and he's the one that's talking to you. And get rid of Chewie because you don't need him.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. I think you could still shoehorn Hondo into the Mando story.
Sure. Timelines fit, but...
Right. Like, he's an alien. Who knows how long he lives? Like, it's totally fine to have him go, hey, you're going to meet my new friend. And
I think it would be a good sort of... It would be definitely a sign of good faith on their part if they replaced Hondo with any character from The Mandalorian, like
somebody that people recognize,
right? Even if it's a new character that kind of resembles the world, you know, yeah, I and Jim Cummings can still do the voice, just so he still has a paycheck, you know.
Yeah, please. What if it's Tigger? There you
I love that idea.
Steve Tyler loves that idea.
Well, and we're not losing anything with that, which is except for our dignity, which is fine.
That's true.
To it.
and we have lots to gain also. New adventure, new experience, etc.
Just like
all right, what's next?
All right, so for me, like I originally said, I want to start kind of thing I'm most excited about on the way down, and coincidentally, the very last thing on my list was the Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
So just briefly, because there's not a lot to say, the thing I'm most excited about is Villains Land. Now, this is Disney's response to Epic Universe's Monsters Realm, or whatever it's called.
Right.
Obviously, it hasn't been proven successful, but it's their counter.
We're excited. There's dress up opportunities there for kids, and there's a cool attraction associated with it. Yeah.
So I think this I'm most excited about it. I'm going to read Disney's copy. The world's most visited theme park will be getting its largest land expansion ever with Disney's iconic villains. The expansion at Magic Kingdom, the Keystone Park at Walt Disney World Resort, will bring new and beloved stories to life. Disney Imagineers, blah, blah, blah. Since this is from Josh Tomorrow, since the beginning, our Disney villains have given us endless possibilities to tell new stories. In this new land, you'll see storytelling on a giant grand scale that only Disney can deliver. Couple of things. What we're going to lose, I think we're already going to lose because of Cars, is Rivers of America. The only geographical place...
Oh, wait, that's Disneyland negative. Sorry.
The only geographical space they can do, when they say largest expansion ever, that means it has to be larger than New Fantee, which was, I think, 12 acres or something. Mm-hmm. The only geographical space they have to expand is northwest of the Haunted Mansion. So in that case, we're losing Rivers of America, but that's the only space they have to expand. So that's where it's probably going to go. So I don't know if we're losing anything per se. They could realistically do it without getting rid of Rivers of America, but I think that's where it's going to go. I'm excited about it. Maleficent's Castle, Chernobog, a lot of water, dining experiences, a villain's roller coaster. We've been talking about this for a long time. So I'm most excited about Villain's Land coming. Now, the indication was all of these projects are a go, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
They're in development. Like, I guess maybe another framing device we should have done is everything we're going to talk about today actually going to happen?
I mean, Zaddy Josh said 5 years for everything.
That's what I heard too. So so that means that this thing is going to be built before the end of this decade.
And this is, I mean, it's very vague what they're doing.
Right.
They haven't posted anything real, but I have heard there were sightings of executives looking at areas. I mean, it's kind of like the old, I mean, it's like Joe Rohde was on the track of the People Mover. Like, who knows if that's actually a real thing, what's going to happen with it. But they announced it, and that's something.
Right. The beauty part about it is once they drain the river, there is no stopping construction. Like, nothing has to go away. They don't have to shut a ride down for capacity. Like, they could just build, right?
Because that area is pretty open. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that they can just build all the time. Every day they can be building. And they're not taking anything away.
Dan has...
Provided that means the Rivers of America is already gone.
Right. Dan has thoughts that he wants to project from his mouth.
I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking about how this usually works. I think we definitely will get a Villain's Land. We definitely will get all the things that they're talking about. But I think that they're leaving it purposely vague to kind of see. When does Epic Universe open? Do we know?
This year, maybe?
Yeah, 2025. Speculation is Q1.
Okay. So we've moved it.
Hotels are being, hotels are being booked, I think, starting in February.
No, thank you for filling me in. Yeah, because I haven't been paying very close attention, but yeah, Villain's Land is definitely. It's a better. Epic Universe has villains.
Yeah,
but what kids care about the Mummy versus kids that care about Maleficent?
That's true. I think they might be waiting to see how dark they can go based on the response to that.
Yeah, what happens at Epic Universe, because they don't have to break ground until 2026 to really build the land by 2029.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so they can kind of see how it goes. But the other thing I want to say about it, from a positive perspective, is where is the Halloween focus at Disney World? Is at the Magic Kingdom.
Right.
Think about how popular the Villain's Lair is, the Redwood Creek Trail. How popular that is at DCA, where the Halloween, that's the epicenter of Halloween for Disneyland. Right. So what could they do with Villain's Land, especially at Halloween time, which obviously goes from July to June.
At Walt Disney World, it's very long.
I think also the one of several elephants in the room for me around this is that Epic Universe, you both and regular listeners know what I think it's going to be. It's going to be, Six Flags Park with really well themed queues.
Ron and Hermione will be there. It'll be fine.
Well, I think that something that people aren't really taking into account is that Universal kind of just needs to make an effort at placemaking and people will go nuts. They'll be like, oh, they're doing it. Wow. Where Disney has set this standard, understandably, to where they they can't win this game if they're going to try to play it. Because and I'm not talking about just Villain's Land, I'm talking about just them trying to directly compete with Epic Universe, because Epic Universe has the luxury of low expectations. Disney does not. And so it's almost like if you were to have light magic at Universal today, people would think it's like a valiant effort, right? Or you could get away with having something called Rock Around the Shop there, or Superstar Limo would probably still be open and made fun of, but they would still have it open there. The standard is much lower. It's all they have to do is have an animatronic and everyone's like,
Well, I will push back a little bit, Dan, only because Universal redefined the standard with Diagon Alley and Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. They redefined the standard.
True, but I think that it's there's still sort of this understanding of like, yeah, it's Universal. If they phone it in a little bit, we kind of expect that, you know.
That's fair.
It's more. I think that the Harry Potter stuff over there stands out more as an outlier, and people really appreciate it as like, wow, not only did they do it, but they did it.
They really did.
But they don't have to reach that level every time, and I think they know it. Yeah, absolutely.
And even, I mean, let me just bring this up here because I haven't had a chance to really think about this anywhere else.
Wait, you did this whole thing on the Ears Up. How come you didn't talk about it there?
Didn't you get all your thoughts out there?
No, I fell asleep.
All right.
What? No, I let Ryan express his things. That's what happened on that episode. But no, like thinking about the new Epic Universe, like Harry Potter area, we're doing this weird thing where we're going back to 1920s France, but then we're gonna
which the kids love,
right? Kids love France, and then we're gonna jump forward in time to include the people that the kids want to see, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. We're gonna jump forward in time to do an attraction based off of the movies.
I'm telling you,
the Harry Potter movies, not the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Right. No, I really do think that Universal figured out that all they need to do is cater to mainly the teen and the thrill ride market, because they're not really being catered to in that area.
Right.
Build a Six Flags park, basically, and just gussy up all the flat rides and roller coasters with just what would be considered a C-level attempt at theming if it were in a Disney park, but because it's in a Universal park, it's going to be like, wow, they have a fountain. Wow.
Now I'm going to say, like, I think the Harry Potter stuff that they've done thus far, the Potterverse areas that they've done are fantastic. Like,
right. I'm not trying to take away from that, but if you look at the promotional stuff that they've put out and think, how is this actually going to look? Not, yay, look at the schematics, look at the music and the little lightning effects, and it's all magical. It's like, okay, take that away, take the production value away, the CG element away, and it's just, the How to Train Your Dragon. It's just a ride that looks like a dragon that
is the ride
goes
great?
Along water.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard great things about like Velocicoaster, but that's wonderful. A different
Velocipaster. That's different. It's also
nice.
All right. So,
but yeah, the new park. Yeah, I don't know. The Harry Potter rides are cool, but I just rather stand there in the area.
Yeah, I think, Eric, to your point, I don't know that they're going to theme the France area as the 1920s. I think it's going to be modern day Ministry of Magic in France. And I do think that Dolores Umbridge was in fact the best villain of the of the Harry Potter franchise.
Oh, for sure. She's fantastic.
Believe we're also digressing quite a bit. So
anyway,
Villain's Land, I'm most excited about that. I think that is the best announcement at D23.
I think Villain's Land completely wins as far as something that we've wanted for a long time at a Disney park, and it also wins as a response to what is happening at Universal.
I love that idea.
I think it loses if it becomes too much of a response, though. I think that they need to maintain their identity, because Epic Universe is going to pull the audience it's going to pull, right? And I think that Disney, I just hope they're not overreacting. And I think it could be really good, but only if they commit to making it kind of scary and uncomfortable for certain people.
I already awarded a point, Dan.
I know. I'm just weighing in. And I'm willing to bet with this, we're going to have Haunted Mansion Holiday during the holidays.
Interesting.
Oh, I don't know.
Because how they're going to lean in on the Halloween thing. And we all know everyone's favorite Halloween movie that is not a Christmas movie at all is
Herbie goes
from the Twisted Mind of Tim Burton.
Coraline 3D.
Coraline.
Lance Burton.
Batman Returns.
Okay.
I don't know. Let's leave
Dan's
that alone for now because I would talk more about it, but we've got a show to do. Dan, do you want to talk about a Disneyland thing?
I want to talk about a Disneyland thing. I'm going to start with the thing that I am most confused by, just because.
Huh?
Well, just because I don't get what they're going for. I'm delighted by the idea of Stark Flight Lab, but have no idea what it's going to be.
It's pretty obvious from the pictures.
Well, but like, yeah, I mean, physically, it's going to be a thing that looks like that, but like,
it's the sum of all thrills. But
why do we go on
outdoors?
Look, I'm not anti it. I think it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad idea or anything like that. I see that, and I have even though it is the most clear, and it's like, this is what this ride is. It's like, okay, but why ride? I mean, I'm for it. Don't get me wrong. I think that that DCA needs help, and the more things that we can put there that aren't,
we took a land that was supposed to have 2 attractions and has had 1 for a long time, and we're putting 3 in there.
I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this ride shouldn't exist or it won't exist. I just don't understand why.
It is confusing, and I think it'll be great.
Eric, what is it?
It's Kuka arms. You sit in a Kuka arm, and it moves you around, and I guess you put on goggles.
And there's some kind of level of control that you can change the ride. I mean, it's outside.
No, it's not completely like the sum of all thrills, which, if you, for the listeners who don't know what that was an attraction at Epcot where you could build a roller coaster and then you could sit in a Kuka arm, which is the type of ride mechanism that the Harry Potter Hogwarts attraction uses, where it moves you around and simulates a roller coaster. So I'm guessing that's what.
But it's outside.
I think what it does, from what I understand, is it Tony Stark, who will be voiced by Robert Downey Jr.
for the first
Kermit the Frog person, which I'm actually sad that that's going to go away.
Oh,
because I really enjoy the other guy. I think it's that this ride simulates the flight patterns of other Marvel heroes.
Not Iron Man?
I would imagine Iron Man's involved, but like it seems. I mean, let's be honest.
Most heroes don't fly, so
I think what it really is Disney was like, we need another ride. We can fit this kind of ride there, and like, okay, go do it. Which is, again, I'm fine with that, but I'm not. I'll ride it. I'm not. If I fit, because that's a problem.
Oh no.
But it's just, it is a baffling concept to me, not in a negative way. I realize I have that tendency. It's just, if someone understands it better than me,
it is very like off the cuff. Like, I don't know. What do we do with this space over here? Let's just buy 10 Kuka arms and put people in them.
Yeah, it's a way of doing a C ticket that's fun for the whole family. Yeah, that's non-intrusive
and not hiding it like Web Slingers, which is a C ticket that wants to be an E.
Yeah, it's Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. It's any of those things. It's a little thing.
It looks like something you might. It looks like you might go around a track, and then the arms like pick you up and go.
It's Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. It's Rollickin' Roadsters. It's just that. It's a little square that you can put a ride in that's themed to the land. It's very typical. It's going to be really inefficient. Not going to have a huge ride capacity.
Sure will.
Oh my goodness, that line.
It's teacups on Kuka arms.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. No, you know what? That makes sense. That's what I needed to get there. It's just this thing. I guess it's a flat ride, but it's a ride system that like exists but doesn't really exist in that format yet, and now it will.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Point. Wow, how did you make that sound without moving your face, Dan?
That's a good point.
I won't tell
Lessons
you
are
where that
paying
sound
off.
came from.
Okay, so I want to move back to Disney World and talk about Cars Land. Away from those villainous villains.
Hang on. Let me just test out the negative sound for everybody.
Have you tried Staples?
Away from those vicious villains, Cars is also racing into the Magic Kingdom in a reimagined section of Frontierland or Frontierland.
Ooh.
Guests will leave Radiator Springs behind and head off to the wilderness with 2 new Cars attractions. One that will be an off-road thrilling rally race and a family-friendly attraction that even the youngest racer is one of Disney's
Oh no.
I can still hear you, but all of my
I can't hear you though.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Jimmy's back. All
Cars
right.
is one of Disney's most popular franchises, bringing in $1.4 billion at the global box office. That's one Deadpool and Wolverine, by the way. Son of a motherless goat. What is happening? Okay.
That's
weird. I'm going to stop touching things. Are we not recording anymore?
No, we're recording. I just really liked that that euphemism. So
I love that idea.
Thank you.
It's not a real point.
Your attention, please.
Hello? 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 Hello?
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
All right. So inspiring Radiator Springs, blah, blah, blah. This is from Josh Zaddy. As we develop the next generation of Disney experiences, we're always looking for new ways to tell the stories people love.
That's like Josh. That's like Disney's version of like, so yeah, your dad went to go get cigarettes.
We're thrilling Cars fans by building on this incredibly successful franchise and creating the next chapter in this story. Okay, so I guess 2 things I want to talk about here. Number 1, Frontierland. Number 2, Rivers of America. And number 3 out of 3, what is this Cars ride going to be? Concept art shows, number 1, that Rivers of America is in fact going away. How do we feel about that?
Good riddance.
I love that idea.
I am on Dan's boat. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Not anymore.
Get rid of it. Get rid of Frontierland. Who cares? Who cares about Frontierland anymore?
Oh, I see. You're saying just toss Frontierland.
Yeah,
because
they
don't have a sign.
Well, there's a lot of talk about Frontierland and it's what it was. Gunslingers, bandits, Native Americans, the frontier, which ultimately don't culturally reflect what Disney stands for right now.
Right.
So frontier as in the West, the wilderness, just kind of the unknown is what Frontierland is being rebranded
that's a different
as.
thing. That's almost like Grizzly, what's the Disneyland?
Grizzly Peak.
Grizzly Peak.
Yeah, Grizzly.
Condor Flats.
Yeah,
Condor Flats. Yeah, like all that stuff. I mean, you can have the untamed wilderness without like a bunch of cowboys with guns.
But what's interesting in the concept art, what is not in this Frontierland concept art, Tiana's is not in the art. So,
well, maybe the internet-friendly one.
Is that being annexed?
All right, they're closing it down.
So you've got. I mean, it's been confirmed that Rivers of America is going away. I think I'm with you. I mean, personally, I don't care. Only because I don't ever go on that riverboat Disney World. I don't go on the island. I don't really care.
So my response is very much colored by the park that I call my home. It's a weird way to craft that sentence. Rivers of America at Disneyland, easily one of my favorite places, like in our reality, right?
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah, I know. So it's hard for me
Disneyland's a different thing.
I know, but it's hard for me to not be critical of them getting rid of Rivers of America. And I'm embracing that bias. I'm just saying that it exists, right? And I've been really baffled by the response from a lot of people within that frame of them kind of going like, yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like it's fascinating to me too. Like the discourse around this is like, man, it's going away. But if you put Kermit on that damn island, there would be storming the Capitol. Like,
no, that's a different one. But yeah,
I'm just saying.
I agree. Like it's not something that people really engage with there. It's a park that it's different from Disneyland, where it's visited by so many people from around the world, and they don't have a connection to this era, this time, this type of IP. We don't have Westerns anymore that really connect with people. I mean, as much as I wanted to watch, well, no, I shouldn't say that.
Song of the South. Go ahead. It's fine. I've seen it several times.
No. Horizons, the new
movies.
Kevin Costner movie. Like I didn't go to see it in theaters. Like, but that's like whenever somebody releases a Western, it's like it's an event now. Like, oh wow, somebody tried to do a Western again.
Okay, I'm not saying this to be argumentative. I'm genuinely curious.
Please.
Why then does Disneyland's Frontierland work?
Because we haven't tried to change it yet.
I think it's because Walt touched it ultimately. I think it was the original
Walt
vision.
drew the island. People go on that boat. People go on the river boat.
I've noticed since the reopening a few years ago, a lot of people are really excited about that boat that I didn't.
And people go on the Mark Twain, no doubt.
The canoes are fun. Like it's a kinetic energy that you want to engage in.
Does not exist at Disney World.
At Disney World, you just want to walk past it and go to Big Thunder Mountain, where it's a dead end. It's a dead freaking end.
Currently,
is it almost like an inversion of the size thing? Because at Disneyland, there's so much to it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like don't get rid of that. It's a major feature. But at Disney World, it's like, why is this here? Another ride should be here.
That's what it feels like. It really, because it's an expanse at Disneyland. At Disney World, it's a bottleneck.
Yeah.
And you're right, it doesn't continue. Like it is a dead end. So yeah, good riddance is not the right way of putting it. Although I will say a couple of things to counter your argument, Eric, that this will now be the only Magic Kingdom style theme park without a Rivers of America. Disneyland Paris has Rivers of the Far West. Mm-hmm. Tokyo has one. Shanghai has one. They all have one. So
I hope they do something with water. I mean, the Cars ride.
Well, there's
water. It's not going to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's going to be geysers. There's going to be West stuff, wilderness, trees. Right. What I want to get to is the Cars ride will not be Radiator Springs Racers, but it will be Radiator Springs Racers. It's going to be a slot car ride. It's going to be some different story, but you're still going to race at the end. It's going to be the same ride. It's going to be Test Track-ish.
Are we sure it's going to be? I mean, Test Track, they're redoing Test Track.
But my point is it's still a slot car ride where they're going to have indoor show scenes, and they're going to be not a race per se at the end, but there's going to be a race. It's going to be a high-speed something or other at the end.
Right.
It's going to be the same thing.
There's going to be a reason to go fast.
Exactly. Just like Indiana Jones and Dinosaur, it's the same ride. It's just not the same ride. Okay.
Maybe you encounter a monster truck version of like a Sasquatch or something.
Halloween Overlay. By the way, that's an actual story in the Cars universe, Dan.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so then there's going to be the second ride is going to be Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. It's going to be Frolic and Roaster. It's going to be some kind of flat ride like we talked about with Avengers. So that's going to be the second thing. And I'm here for it. I think it's going to be great.
So you're both okay. You're both okay with the conceit that Frontier Cars go in Frontierland.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not pushing back on it. It's just weird. And for the reasons I've already addressed.
Anthropomorphic cars in Frontierland is dumb. Under this current Frontierland conceit,
yeah.
But they're going to change the conceit. If they call it Frontierland, I will boycott.
Oh, gosh.
But I think what Frontierland is going to become is, I don't know if they'll rebrand it, but it's going to be Western Frontier, something like that. Like it's not going to be Frontierland.
To me, and this is, I'm just being completely honest, to me, what it feels like is they're saying like, F it, let's just go ahead and make Frontierland Redneck Panderland.
But Dan, look at Tomorrowland. Think about Tomorrowland. What is Tomorrowland?
Which coast?
It doesn't matter.
They both have a Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, what's that? What does that have to do with tomorrow?
Nothing. I don't know. I think that this comes down to the arguments that we frequently get into, which is that I'm seeing that they are just kind of giving in to a breaking of the standard and going like, yeah, whatever. I mean, the same people, let's face it, the same people that enjoy Country Bear Jamboree are probably going to enjoy Cars, right? Like it seems cynical to me.
Probably.
And I think that also on top of it, it's like you could build it doesn't have to. Why do they have so much space if they're not going to use it? Like you could put a legit Cars land into maybe not Magic Kingdom specifically.
I was going to say, yeah,
directly connected to Frontierland, but like you could have it somewhere on property.
But where does it make sense?
No, that's not my job. Honestly, that's not my job. But
Hollywood studios would
they don't have room there either. We'll get to that.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a place for a Pixar thing, but
at the same time, why are we like laying back and sitting back and going like, well, they kind of box themselves in, even though they have all this expanse of space that they intended to use at some point. Well, yeah, I guess they can't do it because they built the cooling plant over there. It's like, well, yeah, you've messed up. You know,
well, maybe. I think, Dan, what my macro point, which I'm going to get to now, is well, you know, I'm going to save my point, not like winning point, but my overall argument for what they're doing and why.
Well, I think what this point said to for me is that, and I don't know if this is necessarily a bad thing. This could actually end up being, I think, a smart move. It's just hard for me to accept, mainly because of the coast I'm on and my expectations. I think that they might be coming to a place where they're like, people don't really come here for like magic in the sense that we usually talk about it. They're just here for a vacation and an experience.
And to see the characters they love. Dan, what does Cars have to do with California Adventure?
I mean, it fits though.
Well,
it doesn't feel. My point is, it doesn't feel shoehorned in that.
Yeah,
and what does anything have to do with California in that park right now?
Well, I think we're making the same argument.
Right.
What does it have to do with the frontier? It's west.
The point that I'm trying to make, that I was trying to make, that I guess I wasn't making well, is that I think Disney might be at a place with Disney World where they're just like, people don't really come here for the Disney. They come here for the brand of Disney. They don't come here for the expectation of Disney.
I think that's true.
They come here because it's really just a fancy Chuck E. Cheese. So it's
immersive. It's the stories they love. Right. It's the characters they love. That's exactly why they come there. Yes.
Right. But like, there's also this sort of like, I feel like they are almost like unburdening themselves from the coconut reference there. They're unburdening themselves of the expectation that they need to still have. Of course, they're still going to have a standard, but they can kind of go, yeah, I mean, maybe not so much. And I think that's also a result of, and this is partially why I brought it up. I think that Epic Universe is going to water down those expectations. And I think maybe, I mean, it's almost like, why try as hard? That seems to be that seems to be what I'm getting from those changes on that coast, which is sort of like I mean, we could figure out a way, but I mean, no one really goes on Tom Sawyer's Island, even though it's the better Tom Sawyer's Island, like by design.
As we declared, yeah.
Like I think it's more just like, why keep fighting this fight? Let's just give the people what they think they want, which also goes to a point that I find we'll get to it. Let's move on.
Well, it's in this particular case, it started with Tiana's. It doesn't make any sense in Frontierland. As long as it doesn't make sense in Frontierland, let's just change the whole thing.
Maybe.
I'm on board with that, and I'm going to move us forward, but I'm going, because I'm the judge, I'm going to make a statement that neither of you can respond to or listen to. Please plug your ears.
La la la.
But ultimately, this is the time. This is finally it. We have finally arrived at a time when we can break one of the rules. When we can say,
talk about Fight Club.
Yes, we can now talk about Fight Club.
Okay,
and we can talk about how Walt Disney probably would have changed multiple lands at this point.
Agreed.
This is a man who was constantly pushing things forward. He scrapped entire lands and completely redid them. Look at Tomorrowland. We're in the Tomorrowland situation we're in now because everybody went, he like redid it twice. I don't know what else to do with it. Get rid of a land. Do something completely new that people actually want. People want to engage with the Cars franchise in the Magic Kingdom, in Walt Disney World, other than this weird Lightning McQueen meet and greet in Hollywood Studios. Do something different. Get rid of a land. Do it.
I know
what
we
does
need
that
to
mean?
move on. I know we need to move on, but I want to add something to this that has been itching in the back of my mind, and it's coming up now, which is I think that Frontierland at Disney World has been kind of just left to be whatever for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
And whereas like at Disneyland, it has had to have been updated several times because of other things. Like not so much like let's update Frontierland itself, but oh no, now we have a Galaxy's Edge, now we have a Fantasmic, now we have this. So like they've had to kind of like reimagine it and keep it fresh over and over again. Where at Disney World, it's just like, I don't know, it got a parade goes through here, and I think that they may have kind of through that apathy gotten to this point, where I think a lot of people have followed them, where it's just like, yeah, I mean, sure, the Rivers of America used to mean something to some people, but really doesn't anymore. So whatever.
Yeah, and I think I've said it 100 times, Dan, and Eric's right. If the Cars franchise was a Disney IP in 1955, Cars would be probably in Frontierland.
I agree. Well, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
It would be somewhere.
Be somewhere.
Frontierland fits better than most other places.
Just like Buzz Lightyear.
Why though? Why does it fit? Because it's dirty? I mean, let's
because it's west. Because it's rocky.
Right. It's Utah. It's New Mexico. It's
whatever.
Route
but
66.
Cars can be anywhere.
Not in Frontierland.
I'm just saying
right.
I'm just saying it doesn't have to be that, and I do think that there's some cynicism behind why it's that.
Okay, and I think I'm going to go back to the point I was going to make before we move on, is that what Disney has done at Disney World is they have built a new theme park without building a fifth gate.
That's
this
a
land,
huge
that
change.
land,
You're
this
right.
land, that land, this land. They're building over the next 5 years a new theme park without building a new theme park.
I really like that idea. It's not just we added Tron. It's we're changing this entire park.
Four new lands is a theme park.
Okay, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, do your effing job, make it.
But Dan, we've been talking about this for years.
I know.
There's no such thing as theming anymore. There's no cohesive theme park anymore. I still argue Disneyland is no longer a cohesive theme park. More so than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
But when you start putting Buzz Lightyear in Tomorrowland and you put Star Wars at Disneyland, there's no such thing as a cohesive theme park anymore.
I guess for me, it's more just like try versus give up. And I feel like they're giving up.
Perhaps. But they gave up when they put Tiana's in Frontierland.
Maybe.
Eric, move us along to Disney.
All right, let's move us along. Yeah, I
let's talk about Haunted Mansion.
Disagree with Dan, but I think this is this is a bold move. This is
let me say, I don't.
You're not allowed to talk about it anymore because I already told you.
I want to clarify. I don't think it's a disagreement as much as it is. What are you expecting? What's your starting point? My starting point is I expect more. That's it. Whether I should or not. That's it.
All right. I think I get where you're looking with that. All right. Give us a Disneyland thing, Dan. But hey,
Rivers
before
of America,
we do that, let's listen to a quick ad from our sponsors, Pants.
Hi, I'm
everybody
Pants.
has to wear pants. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Dan. Pants read for this.
Hey there,
this episode.
Tim Pants here for Pants. Have you ever wandered around your domicile or the city that you live in, and people have noticed that your junk is hanging out? Well, let me interest you in pants. That's right. I'm Tim Pants, creator of Pants. You could have so many pants. We even have short pants. We have long pants. We have pants that you can put on your dog. Go get pants today. I'm Tim Pants for Pants. Goodbye.
Thank you, Tim Pants, for supporting our network. Please buy pants. Dan, tell us about Disneyland.
They're what keeps you from being naked on the bottom part of your body. Pants. Okay. So yeah, we still have Rivers of America, which is great. Speaking of Walt Disney and what he would have done, we're going to talk about Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is opening November 15th.
Nice subversion of expectations, Dan.
What a roller coaster of a sentence that was.
So Tiana's Bayou Adventure, you may have heard about it. It's a thing. The internet loves it. It's going to happen. Also, what's going to happen that the internet loves and that they have very strong opinions about is Walt Disney himself will become a robot.
Wait. Are you taking two things in this one statement?
We all know Tiana's coming. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Walt Disney is going to beat up Abraham Lincoln in a live show with two robots. And Walt Disney will poke the hole in Lincoln's head and be like, "Yeah, you get it." No, sorry, I got carried away. Now
I'm imagining the two robots fighting, and I'd really like to see it.
Well, they are back to back,
right? It's like Rayler Duel. Walt Disney is going to be at the Great Mr. Lincoln / Mr. Disney Theater, where he's going to be very charming and sit on a stool, probably stand up and maybe wave at you. And no one really knows what it will be other than like half of the family seems to like it. The other half seems to not like it.
Is this the best Walt Disney which era of Walt Disney would you have chosen?
Ooh. World's Fair era.
Okay.
I think that's what we're going to get.
Yeah.
It's going to be with the support of the Disney Family Museum and the archives. It's going to be a recreation of his office. It's going to be him sitting on his desk and him explaining the idea of Disneyland. It's going to be snippets of interviews from, the one about Daddy Daughter Day. It's going to be him selling Disneyland from his office circa 1950s
to us. I agree. I think this is the best Walt Disney we could have asked for. It's not the cocky Walt Disney from like Snow White, like, suck it, everybody. I made $1 million.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that they could do wrong, but I feel like they won't, I think that this era of Disney I can trust with. This maybe 20 years ago or so, I'd be like, "Uh-oh, he's going to just sell oranges or something." I do wonder. I mean, okay, people are talking about there being like some ethical problem there, but then at the same time, this is the guy. Yeah, I know. This is the guy that did the same thing to Abe Lincoln. I guess it's like this is a weird crossing of a line for some people, and I don't know. I know how I could feel that way, but I don't know if I do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. You feel like maybe there's something in the back of your brain where you're like, doing this seems wrong, but like ultimately,
definitely like in the 90s or so, this would have felt wrong.
Agreed.
But I think
there's been enough time.
I think, yeah, there's been enough time. And some of the, I think it was Bricky, he was on YouTube. He was talking about how, like, if we think about it, a lot of the people who come to Disneyland who aren't regulars, they don't really even know that he's a real person. And if you're going to have that, if you're going to introduce that connection to the brand, if you're going to reintroduce it, it needs to be at Disneyland because it's his park.
Right.
And at this also, like, there is if he did it to Lincoln, then he's probably okay with it happening to himself.
I would agree.
And I think that, and he also brought up a point that I found really interesting. And this also he also relates this to Tomorrowland and why we're not seeing anything yet, is that he is speculating, and I'm not sure if I agree. I think I might, that they're starting to play with the idea of, now that we're in this era of it has to be IP or they can't do anything with it. I think they might be starting to brand Disneyland and Walt Disney himself as IP.
Yeah.
Walt Disney is the ultimate Disney IP.
Right. And I think that Disneyland is starting to get smart about it, where it's like, okay, well, and they did this with the Disneyland Hotel. They made a hotel themed to Disneyland itself.
Right.
I think that if we're in this era, which seems to be, and I think that the IP problem, I understand that IP exists and that we're going to use it. I don't disagree with you, Jimmy, about like if cars exist and all that stuff. I just feel like it can be too all or nothing, where we start like rejecting possibly good ideas. And the Disney parks in the past have been really good at giving people that stuff that they don't know that they want yet. And I feel like we're missing out on that. But anyway, that aside, it's possible that they are rebranding Disneyland slowly to be its own IP, which means, and this is the connection to Tomorrowland, that we then, once all of the expansion stuff happens, they shut down Tomorrowland and they bring back old Tomorrowland. The IP is, this is Tomorrowland.
Right. It's Disneyland's Tomorrowland,
right,
as opposed to this is a look into the future. Wow, I like it.
Yeah. A couple things I'd like to say is the Disneyland Hotel historically was themed to Disneyland. In the 50s, when it was closed Mondays and Tuesdays, they had a 18-hole miniature golf course where you could hit a ball into the castle and you could do whatever. There was a whole Disneyland themed mini golf course.
Right.
So it's not unprecedented, but you're right. I think that Walt Disney as a statue fits really well at Epcot, fits really well at the Magic Kingdom. Walt Disney as an animatronic would be lost at Disney World.
No one would care. Yeah,
no one would care.
Right.
I think it fits really well in the Opera House. It fits really well as a back-to-back to Lincoln. I think Walt Disney, as a entrepreneur, enterprising young individual, was a huge fan of Abraham Lincoln and made this new technology to fit his hero, if you will. And 60, 80 years later, whatever it was, an enterprising young whatever is paying an homage to their hero, which is an individual Walt Disney, with the new version of that technology. It is 100% something that Walt Disney would do. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, in the 1960s, when Walt did it with Abraham Lincoln, it was blasphemy.
I was alive then.
Well, it was blasphemy for a lot of people. Like, how could you do this to this icon? So like Frontierland, like anything we're going to talk about, it's going to offend somebody for some reason.
Right.
But I think that truly Walt would have done this.
And I do want to be sensitive to, people in the family that they feel that it's a, betrayal or an invasion or whatever like that. I get that. That's unfortunate. However, that's not necessarily my concern, but as somebody who likes the stuff, I think it could serve, and actually someone who likes the stuff and enjoys taking people who don't necessarily understand what this is, it could end up being a really good shorthand for people to go like, oh, that's why Main Street is like this. That's why we still have a Rivers of America. That's why the Tiki Room exists. That's why all these weird nuances of Disneyland, they're like, okay, why the hell is this still here? I think that if you have that framing, you could appreciate it a lot more. And
I think
which is why I hope they have it open during the first half hour that Main Street is open before rope drop.
Sure. I agree. That's a great idea. And I think that what Disney needs to do in an era where it's so easy to get around the world, where it wasn't in the 50s and 60s, that Disney World and Disneyland need to have their own identity.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a step towards that. They need to have their own identity.
Yeah.
You don't need to build identical things in each place because you can get back and forth really easily. Ryan, what do you think? Oh, sorry. Wrong show.
I would like to say that this is my biggest takeaway from D23 is that they didn't announce anything that we're just going to take this thing from here and put it over there too.
Agreed.
Everything was distinct.
That's true.
I mean, it may be the same ride system or whatever, but
right. But we're doing something different. Yeah. Hong Kong is getting a Tower of Terror knockoff, but it's a Spider-Man
That's
one.
going to be so cool.
Tower of Spider-Man.
Exactly. It's going to be awesome. And this is what we need. We need something a little bit different. And I'm not just talking about it because of this show where we want to compare and contrast things.
I think too, they might be setting up. This is going to sound more arrogant than I intended to. I think they are setting it up to where it's like, okay, Disneyland is actually special. And there are reasons why it's special. And there are reasons why we won't touch certain things there. And you all need to understand why it's special and why it is the way it is. And that's actually a total positive. That's why the castle is smaller. All of these things that have been perceived as issues in the past, they're kind of going like, no, we're not going to apologize for that. It is this way because it needs to be this way for these reasons.
It's got to have its identity. And I think this is the perfect encapsulation of that.
As such, I think they're starting to go in a direction of going like, no, this is actually the premium park. This is the special experience. This is the premium park. And that's why we don't have any economy hotels, not because of the lack of space, of course, but because it's a premium experience in general. If you just want off the shelf Disney, I'm going to go meet the characters and see the IP experience, Disney World's over there.
Dan, I think the word you're trying to pronounce is supreme. And that's a whole thing. Jimmy, how about something happening at Walt Disney World? Let's keep moving.
Just something quick. Something that's tangible, something that's going to happen soon, like Walt's. By the way, Dan, do you like Walt's animatronic? Do you like this show?
I haven't seen it. I mean, I think that...
I mean, I'm excited about
it. Excited mostly out of curiosity. I'm not going to... I guess I'm not going to go in finding reasons to dislike it. I'm going to go in finding reasons to like it and hoping that I find them.
As a judge...
There you go.
I agree.
I agree with you. Disney Starlight Summer 2025. It's a brand new nighttime parade. Disney Starlight will debut at Magic Kingdom in summer of 2025 using the latest technology and some pixie dust from the Blue Fairy. The parade will feature characters from Peter Pan, Frozen, Encanto, and more. I'm excited about it. I don't like parades.
About time. In general. My goodness.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I know Spectral Magic was a big deal. Nighttime parade is long overdue at Magic Kingdom. And I don't think it takes anything away. It just adds the end.
Steve Tyler, what do you think?
I love that idea.
There you go.
He's on board.
I was sad and disappointed when that wasn't followed up by, and we're gonna have Paint the Night at Disneyland, yay! But whatever.
Just real quick, one more thing, just in the spirit of Dan's Tiana announcement, is that Test Track 3.0 opening 2025. Reimagining Test Track will open 2025. New show scenes, new technology. Imagineers and teams from Chevrolet have looked back at the original World of Motion to bring that spirit of optimism to this iconic attraction. So Test Track 3.0 coming 2025.
Hooray.
I love that idea.
Steve likes it too.
And speaking of coming, I don't know, 2025, let's move on. We're going to get Avatar Land officially at Disney's California Adventure. I think it's going to change. I think that the third gate that they are yet to announce is going to be Avatar in itself, but that's a totally different speculation. They're going to have Avatar stuff supposedly at Disney's California Adventure, aka DCA. Looks like it's probably going to be a kind of, I don't want to say reskin. I think it's going to be, seems like it's going to be based on the Pirates ride,
the Shanghai one.
The Shanghai one, yeah.
Which they don't have room for in the existing park.
Exactly. I don't see it fitting in the expansion area, not only in the like space sense, but like I can kind of see where that goes, but I really do think it's going to be a third gate thing. And I think the third gate is going to be all Avatar all the time.
I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think they're having a third gate. People keep talking about when they announce what they're going to do with Disneyland Forward. This is Disneyland Forward.
Yeah, bits and pieces.
It's rezoned. It's still DCA. They're going to figure out a way to get it underneath West Drive, whatever. This is Disneyland Forward.
Maybe. That assumes that Toy Story parking lot is going to remain Toy Story parking lot, and I don't see that happening.
Well, no, it won't. But I just mean like Disneyland Forward won't be its whole thing. The rezoned part of the resort will include Coco, include Avatar.
Yeah, maybe.
This is my speculation. I'm just saying that Avatar Land is going to be at the parking lot. Forgive me, guys. What's it called? The one that's just south of Pixar Pier Hotel, Pixar Place.
The Simba.
Whatever that parking lot is going to be Avatar or Coco.
Well, I mean, it won't be. There's room for more than just a Coco.
Yeah, probably. I'm just thinking that Avatar Land in that Shanghai Pirates ride will be across the street.
And they haven't announced anything officially across any streets. It's just...
They don't have to.
Right.
It's been rezoned. They can do it.
Look, I'm not saying that like I think it would be a bad idea to put it there. I think that, sure, why not? Let me put it another way. I would love it if this became the third gate. But I believe that there will be one. I understand that I might be wrong. Are we allowed to talk about Coco? Because it just came up.
Might as well. Go for it.
So we're doing a Coco boat ride that is absolutely not going to be anything like Grand Fiesta Tour. And it's going to be, I believe, connected to the part of the park that has Viva Navidad in it. And not only because it will fit there, but because I know how much Disney loves putting things of vaguely similar ethnicities.
Paradise Gardens, right?
Right.
Yeah, Paradise Gardens. Yeah.
So Paradise Gardens is right next to Pixar Pier. Coco fits right there.
Right.
It makes sense for that to go there. There's not enough geography for a show building.
It's a little tight, yeah.
Well, but I mean, we're also dealing with the idea that right across the street is stuff that they have place to build. We don't, it's not our job to figure out how they will do the things because we're not Imagineers, we're not city planners, we're not engineers. I'm just thinking it would make a lot of sense to have like the entrance over there and the show building on the other side or whatever,
Right.
you know? And I think
That's saying what I'm saying, except I was saying it about Avatar.
Right. Well, right. But what I'm pointing out is the Coco ride isn't going to take up all that space.
Right.
Dan, will they update your favorite bathroom?
They have to.
Never. It's too special.
It's the Route 66 bathroom back there.
It would be like destroying the rivers of America at Disneyland. They know how much it means to us. I actually believe that bathroom is an inside joke for some people in Imagineering, where they're just like, nah, never touch it.
Gotta leave it.
Yeah, they talked about it on Podcast The Ride the other day.
Really? Yeah,
it was like a revelation to them. Wow, really?
Yeah, no, I really do think that it. I mean, think about it. If you were in Imagineering or whatever, and like, I would absolutely just be like, I'm not touching that unless they tell me to, because let's just leave it.
A little slice of the 90s, even though this is not a 90s park.
So yeah,
right.
Coco, it's good to have. Yeah, it's
Point.
You know what Coco is, and
yeah,
I mean, of course, I'm sure everyone is wondering, where is Encanto going to go in relationship to Coco, because that's how they.
Yeah, Encanto's going to go into Walt Disney World.
That's right. It's going to be in relation. It's going to be about as far apart.
Right.
As the
why would they?
And,
okay, listener, I know what I'm doing here. Go with me on the irony here. Why would they have the two Mexican things in different places, guys?
So, do you think that a Coco ride will it be some version of the Mexico boat ride? Will it be closer to?
Why wouldn't it be? You know, like.
Do you think it'll be closer to the spirit of the Flight of Passage, that the Navi River journey?
I think it's going to be both.
Just experiencing a thing, nothing goes wrong.
I think that because how would you have something go wrong with that? Like, we're going to re-traumatize the audience with this storyline. You know, like I think it's going to just be, hey, this is a thing. Why not let this thing be a happy thing? And I'm not saying it in a cynical sense of like Grand Fiesta Tour. I think that they're probably going to say like, I mean, I think the thinking is like, they're like, yeah, what if we did this? Okay, what if we added Coco? Okay, now how can we actually incorporate that in a way that makes sense? I don't think it's just going to be like, whatever, give them more of the stuff. I think
it feels like a celebration opportunity. Yeah, it's not you're right. It's not a rehashing of the movie, which, I mean, when it comes down to it, Coco as a film, like, wasn't. Yeah, there's a little bit of drama as far as it, like Ernesto being not his father and being a bad guy, but really the emotional core of the movie. That's what's more devastating, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't need to all walk out sobbing uncontrollably. I mean,
thinking of our grandmothers.
Right. I mean, like, if we do, fine. But I just, and again, I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say I think that it would be natural probably for someone to go like, okay, so we're going to do a Coco boat ride. What's the starting point there? Like, well, I don't know how much like Grand Fiesta Tour should we make it? Should we not make it? Because it is, I mean, there are clear similarities there. It's a boat ride. There's this and there's that. And then it's like, yeah, okay, well, actually, we could just kind of like have it be that, but let's make it Coco. You know,
Jimmy, will they include a section much like Grand Fiesta Tour with Small World figures?
I think that won't be where they go with it.
No, I don't think so either. It'll be the land of the dead, right?
Right. Yeah, that's where you would
the Day of the Dead. I think maybe what'll happen is that this will be Miguel going back to visit all of his ancestors. It won't be a what they call a book report ride. It'll be celebrating the Day of the Dead all year round, and it'll be Miguel going back to visit all the ancestors. That's what the ride will be.
Love it. Yeah. I think that's fantastic.
And
will it have a drop?
Yes.
If they have the
will
room.
That drop be how we get across the street?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh. All right.
That's my theory.
Jimmy, tell us about Encanto, I guess.
Of Mexico. Esperanza, Encanto, and the exciting adventures of Indiana Jones coming 2027. Goodbye, Dinoland USA. Welcome, Tropical Americas.
This is where I really believe that they're actually starting.
Yeah.
Like they actually have trucks ready to
they
start.
Have trucks. Yeah, they've had trailers back there for a while now. After crossing over the bridge from Discovery Island, you'll encounter Pueblo Esperanza, which translates to Village of Hope, which will be home to 2 signature attractions set to break ground later this year to open in 2027. This
Let's
new
be
area
honest,
of
they do to the breakdown. They do.
Yeah. It will also feature a large fountain in the center of the village, one of the largest quick service restaurants at Disney World, and a carousel featuring beloved Disney animals. So here we get a carousel, which is like lovingly handcrafted by a local artisan of just Disney characters. I'm not sure if they're going to try to incorporate I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be Winnie the Pooh or if it's just going to be Tropical America's themed.
I've heard about like Jungle Book characters.
I suspect Pancho and Panchito and all that stuff will be there.
Yeah, it's in the style of what Alebrije is. That the
right. So it's a carousel. They have one there now. It's the Triceratops spin, right? Probably be in the same general vicinity. But then they're going to have Casita, which I'm excited about. Step inside Family Madrigal's Casita. The first ever Encanto-inspired ride takes place with Antonio after he just received his gift. So Maribel's worst day. And his room has just turned into a rainforest. Join Antonio as he explores his new room as you may bump into other family members. The Casita will be the show building, or the facade will be interactive. It'll be alive. Windows will shutter. Things will happen. It'll be kinetic energy, like the Wicked Queen coming out of Snow White on steroids. Things will be happening in that house.
She's jacked when she does that.
Yeah. But it'll be fun kinetic energy. It'll be a fun boat ride through. It's going to be more of a Omni mover, I think.
Are there animals? It's Animal Kingdom.
There are animals. That is his gift, is to be able to talk to animals.
Right.
I think it's going to be Mystic Manor, and I'm not saying that in a critical way.
I agree. That's the same theory I subscribe to.
I like that.
Same basic elements, that sort of thing. I think Dallin talked about that.
I'm going to pretend I don't know what you're talking about.
So I say Omnimover trackless ride system, something like that. But there will be animals. That is his gift. That's how they shoehorn that thing into Animal Kingdom. And then get ready for a new indie adventure. Indiana Jones has heard rumors of a mythical creature deep in the ancient Mayan temple. So, of course, he wants to explore it. The ride will feature an original story, not confirmed, snakes.
The Temple of Maya. Not
right.
Mara.
and the same, everything. The pre-show's the same. Right. Sala's there.
And you don't look at his lips. If you look at his lips.
Maya.
If you look at his lips, you're in trouble.
Cost savings. I like that. Yes. I like that a lot.
I like it so much
that... go ahead.
It's going to be in phases. Dinosaur is going to be the last to close. I mean, Dinoland's already effectively shut down. They're going to take away the boneyard. I don't know what they're going to do about that. Having a kids interactive area that would be really fun.
You got to do something.
They do something. But the Casita will be really fun.
I could see them doing something with the Casita, like the front part. Maybe have the kids play along with, like, they maybe have a play area there. Yeah.
Give them coffee, like that one kid.
Or they just look at each other.
That's right. That one kid. But I'm excited about it. It's going to be good. It's opening 2027. They're breaking ground. It's a thing.
All right. Steve Tyler agrees.
I love that idea.
Dan, what else you got?
I don't know that I love Dinosaur going away.
I mean, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. But one of the things that Dinosaur has on Indy is it's actually scary. And I hope that they can maintain that. Is I guess the main point.
They can just leave all the lights off like they do now.
Yeah, just don't pay the electricity.
That's right. Just shut it. I hear a voice that doesn't sound anything like Harrison Ford. That must be Indiana Jones.
Hey, I'm a dinosaur now. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, the Infinity Defense, which is going to be a thing. Let's see what they have. Previously announced multiverse attraction starring King Thanos, opening with Avengers Campus at California Adventure, will be called Avengers Infinity Defense. The attraction will transport riders to Wakanda, New York City, and Asgard. And construction begins in 2025. That is according to our friends at Attractions Magazine. Don't forget to subscribe today to Attractions Magazine. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't care about Marvel anymore. I'm just being honest.
Neither is Marvel.
What's that? Oh,
I said neither is Marvel. It would seem.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I guess the speculation is it's going to be similar to the Spider-Man ride experience at Universal.
Yeah, the guy who created that experience is Scott Trowbridge, and he's in charge of this ride too.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, hopefully, like real fire and stuff, that'd be really cool. I would imagine 3D glasses are going to probably be involved. So it's like
Screen ride.
Yeah, it's a screen ride that is also a ride, which is I'm not opposed to
Spider-Man, Transformers.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to. I mean, they have a similar thing with Peter Pan at another park. I forget where.
It's Tokyo, right?
Tokyo, yeah,
it's
the Tokyo
Tokyo
one. Yeah. So I don't know. I think probably net positive. I don't see how they screw this up, but then again, they can. I hope it's not too fuster clucky like Web Slingers is. Like when I read the whole like you're going to go here and here and here, I'm like, that's a lot, and it kind of
going to be some just like you do with Spider-Man. If you recall, you kind of go from different parts of the city. You get zapped and transported. I think is what's going to happen. You're going to go through Tony Stark's. I forget what it's called. That little contraption, the time warp thing. Yeah. So it's the anyway. You're going to go through that portal.
Obviously, if there's King Thanos, you've got to go somewhere in the multiverse.
Yeah, it's a multiverse
that we're kind of abandoning anyway. But
yeah.
But it also frees up a lot of evolutions of story in different locations because it is screen based.
All right, everybody, get.
But it will be interesting to see how Disney handles that ride system.
Yeah,
because Universal is always something spitting on you. There's a screen and there's fire. Like that's what it is. There's fire, there's screens, and there's water. Like that's just what they do.
I'm saying honestly, Disney's. I understand you're in competition in some sense. Why not use the good ideas? Instead of like forcing yourself to make bad ideas in response to the good ideas. Just have the real fire. Have the thing. Have the dogs. It's been a while since a dog has sneezed on me, right? Like, let's bring it back.
Yeah, I mean they don't have a lot of space. I think it'll be a good ride.
Yeah, they have just enough space.
And Eric, you said something before. Avengers Campus currently has 2 attractions, and they will now have 4.
What's the non-web attraction?
Guardians Mission Breakout is.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that one. Yeah. The one that people like. Okay.
It was gerrymandered.
Gerrymandered attraction. Sorry, fans.
Speaking of which, gerrymandering. Well, there's been a lot of that so far in this conversation. Monsters Inc. Land.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
There is.
We got 2 places.
Jimmy, I have an unrelated idea to that.
Okay.
That I just want to say. So, when you see something in a movie that makes you think, let's make a ride where you're doing that thing, you could also just make a ride that captures the feeling of that scene rather than making it about that scene. Just a stray thought I had.
What's the point?
Oh, he's just talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah. Just a thought.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
if you look at a geographical map of Hollywood studios, you are somewhat landlocked by roads. But there is also a very large parking lot that is never full.
Very large parking lot. Yeah.
The Skyliner helps with a lot of traffic, buses, obviously. You could walk from the Epcot resort area, the friendships, etc. The parking lot is never full. There's a lot of geography in that parking lot to expand the size of Galaxy's Edge. You have about 13 to 15 acres of parking lot that would not be missed. You could expand beyond Monsters, Inc. So, Monsters, Inc., based on the concept art and an inverted roller coaster, very first Disney built inverted roller coaster, suspended roller coaster.
There you go. Okay.
Through the door thing. They've been talking about it for 20 years. Could not fit in the animation courtyard. It could not fit in the launch bay area. It just couldn't fit there. Even if you ripped out the old animation building or the staff parking garage? Yes, there's a lot of support buildings you could put. That's correct.
Okay.
You could get rid of the cars thing. There's land back there. It doesn't really fit in the Hollywood thing.
Nobody really cares about the cars thing.
So far, nobody cares about theming anymore. Anyway, all money is going on the Muppets. So you could keep the Muppets in the Muppets courtyard and expand into the parking lot to have its own Monsters Land. There have been letters. There have been responses to letters saying, Walt Disney said Disneyland will never be complete, blah, blah, blah. We take our loyal fans into account, but sometimes we disappoint them. There's no room for Monsters Land in just Muppets Courtyard anyway.
Right.
Unless you took out Star Tours and Muppets Land, you could fit this land in there. Knowing that, there's no reason for Star Tours to be there anymore. The Muppets thing, yes, it's beloved. It was Jim Henson's last thing. I get it, but nobody goes.
It's mostly empty.
What's your email address again?
No,
Jason at Ears Up.
That's right. I find it interesting. Yeah, it wouldn't be the end of the world if we lost Muppets 3D.
That's not what I've heard.
Well,
Star Tours is, why remove 2 attractions to put in one? I think.
Why remove any if you just expand out in the parking lot?
That's fair as well.
Jimmy, there's no space. There's no space at Disney World.
Well, there's a lot of parking.
They have to get rid of something.
I think what'll end up happening is they're going to expand into the parking lot, period.
Right.
Okay.
Whether they sacrifice Muppets or not remains to be seen. But Monsters, Inc. Land is going to be cool. Suspended roller coaster, meet the characters, Monstropolis. Disney does a really good job at, immersive theming environments, etc. It's going to be fun. It is tentatively, project will begin in 2025. So we will know very quickly whether or not Muppets is on the chopping block. But
that's
again,
good to know.
Nobody goes.
Considering that we've never that you two were, I'm just going to say it. You were far too lazy to determine which Star Tours was better, which one was supreme. I can't. I'd like to cast my vote and say that the Hollywood Studios version is supreme, and that means it might deserve a little bit of extra protection, but I don't know.
They still need.
I think they're going to keep.
If you're going to keep Star Tours, connect it to Galaxy's Edge.
No, they're not going to do it. I think that I think they're going to keep it there just to spite us, because that's what they do. And I think that I also think that they're going to keep Pizza Rizzo and get rid of Muppet Vision 3D.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Oh no.
That'd be so funny.
That would be the worst crime of all. The rest of that area,
I'm telling you, they're going to do it.
Mama Melrose's. Yeah, okay,
I have a perfect tie-in. A perfect tie-in, Dan. What is the character's name of that little Muppet who's just like crazy, and he like "Arr!" Animal. Damn it! I thought his name was Monster. Never mind. That would work. But I was going to say they could tie in animal, monsters. They could seamlessly blend the two
There's
lands.
a way
well.
to do it. There is a way to do it.
I agree.
I think that so. I don't disagree with any of it. I don't really care, to be honest, about a lot of Disney World. But I also think that, like, I don't know why you have this Muppets property and like continue to actively not do anything with it. Like
that's fair. The last thing that
Agreed.
they did that was interesting was in the Magic Kingdom.
Well, to be fair, the last thing they did with it was interesting was the documentary that Ron Howard directed. But that was really more of a Jim Henson thing than anything.
And I think it kind of goes to maybe the laziness of the the executive team that then gives the creative team their orders, which is like you have these hard to manage themes like what's a studio park? What do you do with it? What the hell's an
What's
Epcot?
a California park? What do you do with it?
What's the California park? What the hell is an Epcot? You know, Animal Kingdom's message is not inherently based on something profitable. What do we do with it? You know, like I think Muppets is kind of like that. It's like, well, okay, here's this cool thing with this cool guy, and the closer we get to it, the more it feels like living in a commune or something, which is fine. I'm all for that. But like, I think there's a lack of imagination there where they're just like, what do we do with the Muppets? Well, you know, Ted over in, you know, the economic whatever office couldn't come up with anything. So I guess nothing.
Ted in finance.
You're asking Ted from finance about this? My goodness,
like,
that guy.
Yeah,
Ted had a couple of good ideas.
The least creative person in the least creative office couldn't come up with an answer to a creative problem. So I guess no answer exists.
Remains to be seen. They're gonna have to bump out in the parking lot either way.
Yeah, most likely. I don't know. It just feels like the same problem that Star Trek seems to have, which is like the closer you get to the original intent, the harder it is to ignore the idealism behind it, which is like boring. Mm-hmm. But that's the challenge. That's what makes it fun and creative, is embracing that and being like, it's not boring this time because blah, 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 you know? I don't know. I think the monsters thing, sure, why not? Let's have it. I think that scene is cool. It's fun. I suspect it's going to end up being better as an idea than it is as a ride. Like, I think the ride itself is going to be fine, but I think the idea will get lost.
It won't be a thrill coaster. It's in the laugh floor, not the scare floor.
Right.
So how to figure that part out. You still have to get doors to get to kids' rooms to tell them jokes.
Right.
So how they're going, but it's not going to be a thrill coaster.
When was the last time either of you went to Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor?
10 years?
The last time I was there, which was probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
I think it was with you, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, no, I take that back. The last time I went was the Halloween party last fall, when it was a nightclub. You know, they were doing Halloween themed jokey things, but it was also how you get candy.
Genuine question, because my finger isn't on the pulse of this. Is Monsters that popular?
As far as I'm aware, like the Monsters University hat is consistently one of the best merchandise offerings that they've got. Like they are constantly selling those hats, even though
it just occurred to me that that's why we're getting this, is because a damn
and
hat.
I'll remind the Disney company that Mickey Mouse was the single most popular stuffed animal character in Paris, France in the 90s. So they thought, they'll love Disneyland.
Of course, which they did.
Didn't pay off.
Famously.
They do now.
And there has been a Monsters.
At first their answer was
series,
but now it's
we.
Nice. All right, what else we got? Who else has something new coming to a park?
Let's see.
Maybe.
Over at Disneyland's Epcot Center, we're going to have lounges.
Wait a minute. Well, first of all, Zootopia, a new show, Zootopia Better Zoogether, will open in winter of 2025. That's next year, everybody. At Disney's Animal Kingdom.
So it's in the
tree.
Okay.
In it, you'll visit different biomes from the film along with Judy Hopps, Nick Wilde, and other characters from the movie. To quote Dallin, keep it scary. If you're going to take out Tough to Be a Bug, if you're saying to hell with Joe Rohde's original idea, make it fun and thrilling, a little scary, a little uncomfortable for adults.
Yeah. Well, anything fart on you?
It's going to be a
Probably.
concert. I'm telling you, it's going to be a concert.
With Giselle or whatever her name was.
That's all it's going to be.
Shakira.
No. Oh no. Oh God. It's going to,
Dan figured it out.
I can't,
I can supreme out any of your words.
It's more fun if I edit it myself. It's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same format. It's gonna be the same show. It's Tough to Be a Bug, but it's gonna be. We're all waiting for the headliner, and it's gonna be little acts of like, here's me doing a song that's why it's funny to be a goat, and it's gonna be like, I don't know, like Goat in USA or something. It's gonna be like bad. It's just gonna be like, hey, and now it's time for a big scary lion. Oh no! And it's just gonna be like really sensitive and sweet and singing about how, maybe even like the lion might even sing "It's tough to be a bug," and he has friends that are bugs. He's covered in ladybugs, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or something.
We're carnivores.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's gonna be that. It's gonna be straight up that thing, and it's gonna be like, oh, now it's time for Giselle, but like she's late or doesn't make it or something, and then like they're gonna use the Hopper animatronic arm for something. That's gonna be like some villain.
Well, you remember in the movie, the villain, quote unquote, the villains were the carnivores. What do they call them? The predators.
Oh no! I just landed on it.
Injected with this flour that made them all
aggro
and killed.
That's going to be involved, but they're going to be tiny things that poke you in the back because they want to keep that. And then I just landed on it. Oh God, why does my brain work like this? Okay. It's going to be the chief of police hesitantly hosting a talent contest.
Ooh.
And they're all going to be showing off. Or like some kind of it's going to be something. It's going to be bad. I just know it's going to be bad because I know it's going to end up being about, we're going to go see Giselle at a concert and it's going to suck.
I think it's going to be Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde giving you a tour of Zootopia. They're going to take you all to the different biomes and see the world. I think to your point, Dan, there's going to be a little bit of like maybe a jump scare, a poke you in the back thing. They're going to keep the mechanics of the show, but it's going to be a tour through Zootopia.
I think it's going to be a tour of Zootopia through song. And they're gonna sing over, the songs are going to be over expository. Probably.
These are very specific takes. All right, what else we got?
All right, Pirates Lounge coming 2025, ladies and gentlemen. We got another new look at the Pirates of the Caribbean themed lounge coming to Magic Kingdom 2025.
Looks
cool. The lounge will be located in Adventureland and will extend the story from the iconic ride. Drink up, me hearties, yo ho.
Is this Tortuga Tavern?
Yeah. Alcohol in the Magic Kingdom.
Yep. We're doing it.
Beyond sitting down at a restaurant having beer and wine. This is a bar?
Yeah. Seems like it.
I'm okay with that. I think we're not, and Fresh Baked David said this a couple of years ago. We're not far away from like beer carts in the parks.
Well, they already have them, but you're talking about the Castle Parks.
The Castle Parks.
Yeah.
The two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of fitting. You have the Walt Disney animatronic man. It's like
what if he had a beer in his hand?
It's got a Scotch mist and a cigarette.
And you could change the sponsor, Dan. The next show is Amstel Light.
I forgot to mention there. I think that a problem I foresee with the Walt Disney animatronic is too many people are going to want to get their picture taken with it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Wouldn't you?
No, I don't care.
At the end of the show, when it's America,
right?
Spread your golden wings. Dan,
that'd be great if they kept that song too.
I would love it.
I want Abe and Walt to hug.
I think that they should sing a duet. They should sing Two Brothers.
They shake hands just like at the end of the American Adventure.
That's right.
Yeah, no, the vibe I got from this year's D23 was, first of all, apparently you need a musical act between everything.
That's right.
And second, I think that this was kind of them going like, yeah, okay, let's break the seal on a couple things. We got the Walt animatronic. We have we're going to blow up Rivers of America. You know, we're going to make some decisions that, you know, maybe some people won't like. And I apologize for the background noise. But I think this is the year of, we're going to break some eggs and make some omelets, you know?
Hear, hear.
All right.
And perhaps you can do that in the Spaceship Earth Lounge.
I was going to say, you got a little more.
Not the only lounge that's in the works next year. A lounge based on Spaceship Earth is coming to Epcot in what is presumably the sponsor lounge, which is
the
currently
Siemens
Siemens. Is now just going to be a bar overlooking. I think this is their way of kind of replacing that big circular tower that they originally had announced at the last D23 that didn't happen.
I
don't know if they're going to do any sponsor festival stuff there, but it's going to be a bar that overlooks the Epcot.
I'm sure it'll be cool. Dan is very pleased. He likes this
I love
idea.
the sponsorship opportunities.
I think they're done.
Yeah, I think that's why they're going to make money elsewhere.
Wait, which sponsor? Which sponsor's done?
Siemens.
Anything else, people?
That ties up Disney World's announcements.
Dan, they didn't announce that much for Disneyland. I'm sure I'm assuming you're close to done. Let me look back here.
Let's see. Disneyland was built in 1955 by Michael Eisner, and then Walt Disney came. And
all right,
said,
thank you, AI. All right, we're done.
And let's see what else.
So, Eric,
you know what?
What is your verdict?
You know who wins? Everybody.
Yeah,
we win. We, the park-going public, win. And that's where I was going all along with this. I don't. There's some stuff that people are going to be upset about. I don't think they'll be upset for too long. Even if we lose like Rivers of America, I've already said I don't particularly care if we lose it. Muppets 3D, you know what? If we lose it, it's fine. It's old. Yeah, people don't go there. It's another one of those things that people don't visit. And hey, we got a new Country Bears. Some of these old things are still going. And other things are going to be replaced and you come in, whatever. I think we're good. This is something new. This is something that is different. It's interesting. We're moving forward without. I mean, it's bold. It's different. It's something that is taking what we have and expanding upon it without needing to create a fifth gate in Walt Disney World, without necessarily needing to create that third gate in Disneyland, jumping forward into that arena. I think we're in a good spot here, gentlemen.
I agree. I think we all win.
I think we're getting.
But as far as announcements go, Disney World.
I mean,
Disney World, I would say probably wins because there are more things being announced and there are bolder things being announced. But Disneyland we already know what's going to happen at Disneyland.
Disney World, it certainly has the more announcements, but like they need they've needed a nighttime parade for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of some things that some people will find very upsetting. I honestly think it's about net even. I mean, accounting for they're just different sizes to begin with.
Yeah. So Disney World needs more stuff. It's big, but we've talked about before, and having recently experienced Disneyland a couple of times, there's just so much to do there. And, when you can go on 26 rides in a day and not leave Epcot, the size of Epcot, you just can't do that at Disney World. If you did 26 rides at Disney World, that's like everything. Like it's just, and you'd have to spend all day nonstop and miles of travel, and they just need it. They need more stuff. And I don't really think they're really losing anything. Again, Rivers of America and the island don't take up people.
Right.
They're expanding with the Villains Land and the car stuff. The capacity is going to increase by arguably 20%.
Right.
And even losing Muppet Vision, you're not really losing capacity.
It's space
because people don't really go there.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. And it goes back to that idealist thing that I stupidly hold on to, which is like, you don't need to lose anything. You can just build another thing. And yeah, maybe a road is in the way, but you own that road.
Yeah. I don't know. I get what you're saying, like, especially at Walt Disney World, where they do have more space. But how much can you expect a human being to walk around? At what point do you need a bus to go from one side of Hollywood Studios to the other? Like,
and maybe this just comes back to how I approached Disney World years ago when I visited the first time. Is it's like, what if Disney World did have that amount of density in that space? It would be amazing. It'd be mind blowing. People would it'd be unquestionably one of the greatest places ever.
But they don't need to.
Yeah, I'm sure the bean counters have counted those beans, and they say, "Oh, we don't need that much."
Yeah, and I understand. I understand that the bean counter. I understand that we live in the world that we live in. That's totally fine. I get that. I am a materialist. I understand that. However, I have impossible standards. Hence my politics.
But yeah, I think ultimately, Eric, I think you're right. At the end of the day, maybe it's a net for everybody, which again defeated the whole point of our take. But,
but yeah, I ruined our show.
No, I think, how about this? Let's give it to Disney World because some of the fans need it right now.
Yeah, maybe. So in closing from my end, my closing arguments are, I think if they actually do Villains Land, that is what I'm singly most excited about because it's so different, such a departure. How are they going to handle it? Is it going to be scary? Because at night it would look really cool. How they handle Villains Land is the thing I'm single most excited about. The second thing I'm most excited about is Walt Disney's animatronic.
Wow.
Again, for the reason of how are they going to handle it? A revered historical figure, not unlike Abe Lincoln. Obviously famous for different things, but it's just such a unique idea, and how they handle that will be really interesting. Those are the two things I'm most excited about.
Dan, what are your top two? Let's go this way.
I'm excited actually about the Coco ride.
Okay.
Mainly because Disney's California Adventure needs animatronic rides. And every time I go to Disney's, I don't know why I usually just call it DCA, but in this conversation, I keep wanting to call it Disneyland. Every time I go to DCA, I find myself thinking, I want to go on a boat ride for some reason, but they don't have one. I mean, they have Grizzly River Rapids, but I don't want to get wet. You know,
we do need more boat rides. That's a fair.
I mean, boat rides are
assessment.
good. They're fun.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a nice way to convey people around. And I think that, you know, they definitely need a high capacity ride. I think that'll help with that. So for all those reasons, and also just curiosity of how they're going to handle it. I am excited to see that. I suspect I will enjoy the Avengers ride, but I don't really care. I think the Walt Disney robot, mainly because I hope they do it well. I think they probably will.
They probably will.
I'm aware of how they could do it wrong, and at the same time, for content, I am looking forward to that being hilarious and talking about that. So it's kind of a win-win for me.
Okay. For
Eric,
my
what
part,
about you?
Yeah, Villains Land, definitely. And then Avatar at DCA.
What are the odds that all of this has been built or has broken ground? And I say all of this. I think there were 23 announcements.
Within the 5 years that they...
Within the 5 years. Yeah. So let's say August of 2029. Will all of this have been broken ground or built?
No way.
I think Villains Land is going to be the outlier with time, because I think they're going to really sit on their hands waiting to see what happens with Epic Universe.
I think that's a good assessment.
And if the Epic Universe Monsters thing is a bust, I don't think they do it.
Oh, that's some stakes right there.
Or, hey, we'll show you how to do it right.
I think that that's the idea. I think that, or if it's successful, Frankenstein, then Villains Land.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it's not.
I'm sure that's
it's
intellectual.
Open. Yeah. Nah, how old is it? It's.
I was going to say, I'm sure that's public domain by now.
Yeah, it is. Dracula.
You know what? The Universal can do the same damn thing. Put Steamboat Willie into Monsters Land.
A bloodthirsty Steamboat Willie.
We see your Phantom of the Opera, and we'll raise you a Steamboat Willie.
I hope Villains Land does some obscure things too, like the weird villain from Rescuers. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Medusa.
Yeah.
Ratigan.
Yeah.
Ooh, Ratigan. Nice.
The guy from Pocahontas.
You mean John Smith, the colonizer?
No,
the other villain. Oh, the governor, whatever his name.
That was a raccoon. I hope it has some random element to it, but isn't too much of a character dump. You know, it'd be fun.
Yep.
All right,
Eric, take us out.
I think we're doing all right here, regardless. So I have this to say.
Rabies from Hold Yeller, that could be a villain.
You just talked over my Casey Jr. All aboard, let's go.
Sorry.
All aboard, let's go.
Sorry.
He was saving that too.
I was I'm sorry. I was too delighted by the idea of having
cut
rabies
Dan out of
be a
this
villain.
episode altogether. It's just me and Jimmy having a conversation.
Eric, to that end, I had a great conversation with Heather yesterday where she booked a 9-night, 10-day trip to Walt Disney World this December with she and her family. And they use concierge. They are listeners of the Ears Up podcast network, and I'm very excited. They were going to go to Riverside, Port Orleans Riverside, because they like it. Mm-hmm. And I talked her through just sort of the pros and cons of all the different resorts. We're looking at some price sensitivity. They have 5 people, so you can't really go just anywhere with 5 people.
Okay.
Kind of the all-stars were out and that sort of thing because they don't fit 5 people. So you're kind of limited to where you could stay. At the end, we decided on Caribbean Beach.
Okay.
And the reason why is you could still do a 5th sleeper, and you're right there on the Skyliner.
Yeah.
It ended up being about $30 a day more. But what we talked about is if you want to go to Epcot, get on the Skyliner. You don't have to transfer. You just get on. That's the hub of the Skyliner. You're there in a few minutes. You want to go to Hollywood Studios, get on the Skyliner. You're there in a few minutes. If you're staying at the Riverside, you have no choice but getting on a bus to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Except Disney Springs, you can get on a boat.
Great. Love that boat.
Certainly can't go wrong. But if we're talking about $30 a day, the first time you spend 12 hours at the Magic Kingdom or let's say 12 hours at Hollywood Studios or 10 hours at Hollywood Studios, and then you leave with 20,000 other people and you sit there for 30 minutes to wait for that bus, then you have to stand in the bus to get to your hotel. That hour of time that you would take rather than just getting on the Skyliner, well, yeah, maybe you have to wait a couple minutes to get on, but it's constantly moving, loading people. And the first stop is your hotel. It's worth that $30 a day. So that's what they end up deciding. And that's what we can offer you with Concierge, is that expertise and that personal experience to cater to your needs. But I'm excited for them. They're going for 10 days and they got park hoppers, and it's going to be fun.
All right. That sounds tremendous. I would love that. Dan, I can't wait to, I would love if I was there when you experienced the Skyliner for the first time. Just saying, it's the absolute best. And hey, if you like listening to,
and
what's that?
To do that, we can call it 856 Our Ears.
Oh, yes. 856 Our Ears. Go to concierge.com.
I mean, honestly, I'd just talk to either one of you. But
just call Jimmy.
Dan, you're an honorary concierge at this point, and I think we're talking about February of 2025 for our next get together. So mark your calendar.
All right.
All right.
Consider it marked.
Okay.
Sleep in my room.
Oh, hot. All right. Well, if you'd like to sleep in Jimmy's room, please join us in February. Those of you who nice. Those of you who like listening to shows about things, we've got Ears Up. It's a show that is about things, mostly Disneyland things, and little Disney parks history, like studio history, that sort of stuff. We've got Bantham Milk. They talk about the Star Wars. We have Puny Pod, who just released 3 whole episodes about Black Panther. The Marvel movie, that is. Dan's got a look on his face.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought they were talking about the political movement.
Oh, no, not at all. Maybe it is. I haven't listened to all 3 yet because
I mean, either way, I'm in full support.
Okay. There we go. We've got Scraping the Vault that does movies that are direct to your VCR.
It still exists. Yeah, we've not been great about recording.
Well, it's my favorite podcast, so get back on that. And then we've got our new show, Buena Vista Boys, where Jason and Matt do shows about the live-action Disney movies from the 60s.
And let me guess. I haven't listened yet. But they talk about these movies, but Jason refuses to watch them. But can still reserve his opinion about the movie.
No, it certainly sounds like he has watched them. Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
He also used to go to Disneyland.
Whoa.
Sorry.
All right. Listeners, please add us if you haven't already done so. Rate and review our show. Add us to your list of shows that you automatically download. We love our downloads. Don't just stream it.
Don't forget, you also have Hub Crawl. You're allowed to talk about Hub Crawl, right?
I can talk about Hub Crawl.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
You can also talk about that other thing that we do.
The Hub Crawl. It has a very it sounds like a show that's about booze, and its initials are THC, so it sounds like a show about weed, but it is neither. It's me and my friend Teg, and we invite guests on the show to talk about anything Disney related. We each bring a question. It's fun. We usually talk for way too long.
And if you are on weed, it makes it more enjoyable.
Oh, okay. Good to know. And I also do this show with a guy I know named Dan.
Mm-hmm.
I've never met him in real life, and we talk about David Bowie. It's called Bowie Splaining. And we've got a show about the album Young Americans that comes out tomorrow. Whenever you're listening to this, it comes out tomorrow.
Impressive.
It's like Tron, the ride.
Right. And we just go through David Bowie things because I don't know anything about the guy, and I think I kind of like his music at this point.
I think you might.
So yeah, there we go. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Are there any other shows that I've missed? Thank you for shaking your head.
WTF with Mark Maron.
Yeah. Listen to WTF. Don't listen to Joe Rogan.
I mean, but keep in mind that people you talk to tend to be psychopaths.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, you know what? You can listen to him. It's fine. I'm not going to tell you not to listen to him, even though I already did. I've never listened to it. I don't know what he's about. There are other podcasts.
He's about telling it like it is and asking questions.
Okay. Yeah. There are plenty of podcasts out there. Please listen to podcasts. This has been an advertisement for podcasts. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, I'm Tim Podcasting.
You get to each other, enjoy podcasts, and court is adjourned.
Like, oh, hey, look, this is a new way to slaughter pigs. Hooray. I use an anchovy paste.